G'day guys, welcome back to Aussie Arvos. Now, you have seen the Immaculate Red Patrol. So, you're probably wondering, what's the first mod gonna be? The first mod is protecting the body. Now, how are we gonna do that? New set of custom rock sliders from the guys at DIY Customs. They sent us out this kit, sweet setup. We're just gonna unbox it today. They're a DIY setup, so they send you out the tube notched, bent. You unbox it, obviously, sweet, weld it all together, put it on the car, should be a good setup. So these are 3mm wall, 42mm tube, solid as. Yeah, so check it out. Alright guys, so that's everything out of the packaging from shipping. So this is basically the whole setup. So these are my rock sliders, which I think look awesome. Custom setup, so this is like a kicker at the back. This is to go to the rear of the car. Basically protects the rear guard, rear wheel arch from anything you might be against. So if you're already leaning against a rock or a tree, this is to try and kick the rear wheel arch away from it. These guys will supply either a straight rock slider, just a basic style setup, or for a little bit extra, they'll supply you these, which I think look awesome, as well as being really functional. Fully bent and notched, so the tubes are notched to butt right up and weld. Straight up supplied, everything done, ready to just weld together and set up on your car. And one of the best parts about these kits is you can set it on your car exactly how you like it. So if you want to run the step flat as a side step, or you can hug it right against the body as a rock slider, more like a comp style setup, it's completely up to you. You can set up the chassis brackets exactly how you like it. You can either weld it to the chassis rail, or the option I've gone for is to clamp it to the rail, which is what this flat plate's for. So that'll create the U clamps to clamp up over the rails, few bolts, and get that whole setup on there. So one of the best parts about these kits is you can save yourself a fair few dollars if you've got some basic welding and fabrication skills. And let's be honest, if you've got a four-wheel drive, there's a fair chance you either can weld, or you know a guy who is probably more than willing to help you out with a bit of welding. Now, these kits, they take all the hard work out of it. So, as I said, the end notching, which is hard to do if you don't have the right gear to do it, and the folding is all done for you. So as you can see, you can just lay it out, measure everything up, and tack it and weld it. I'm no gun fabricator, but I've got a welder, I've got some basic skills, and these don't look at all hard to set up yourself in your shed at home. So next step, let's break out the welder and get these things put together. Alright guys, so we're all set up, ready to weld these awesome rock sliders together. Basically the first step, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to start by welding on this rear kicker, which is just because it's the easiest part to start at. Tack that in place, and then from there we'll move on to the front rail, tack that in place, and then all the joins between, tack all them in, and then eventually we'll run over and weld everything up completely. So the best thing about this kit is that all the hard work's already done. The tubes are already bent, they're already end notched, everything's cut to length. All you need is some basic tools. This is a 170 amp MIG welder, pretty much your standard single phase unit, nothing fancy, and an angle grinder. If you're not that crash hot, you can clean up your welds afterwards. I'm definitely going to need that. So you don't really need any crazy fancy workshop equipment. If you don't have one of these, I'm sure you've got a mate that does. You want to buddy up to him. So yeah, let's get into it. It's like putting together a big jigsaw puzzle. Just clamp this in place, clamp that up. And that's that, sitting up there. Everything being end notched is just makes it so easy. It takes all the hard work out. Alright.
Wait, so with this, is that the sort of paint you can weld through?
Yeah, it's done in weld through primer. So you don't even have to clean anything up.
That's alright. Yeah, that's sweet.
Again, it's easy.
What do you reckon would be the material cost of all these?
Honestly, I don't know. I reckon if you priced it up, there'd be a fair bit in steel in it alone.
And then you're obviously paying because he's got all the proper machinery to do like good bends and
stuff. That's the thing. Like, you know, I know I've got a fair few mates that have got welders and a fair bit of equipment, much bigger welders, better equipment. Yeah. But not many people have end notches and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it.
And rollers that can roll, like benders that can bend 3mm tube like that. Yeah, it's not. It's not easy.
That's it.
So, I run a fairly solid tack on that, just so with me throwing it around it doesn't snap off again. And we'll set that up there and grab the next piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, the time-consuming part is running beads.
Yeah, literally. And if you did have a higher current welder, you'd be quicker. You know what I mean? Like I'm going slow to get the heat into it.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, basically all I did was take the measurement from center point to center point. There's 3 joins, so there's 4 gaps, so divide it by 4. That gives you your marking out measurements. You could almost do this by eye. I wouldn't.
Yeah. You can only see one side of the car at a time, so.
Yeah, that old trick. And then we pretty much just go along, tack these in, and then put that outer rail on, tack that in, check everything lines up how you want it, and go welding.
Pretty easy when everything's already made up.
Yeah, I reckon you could easily, if you set aside a day, you could easily have these put together, welded, make up all the mounts, check them on the car, and paint them in a day. I reckon. Like even if you never, if you hadn't,
efficient at welding.
yeah. And yeah, if you hadn't really done any, even if you hadn't done any metal, like crazy metal projects before, I reckon like a weekend easy.
I think they are essential though, rock sliders. Like if you want to do any full driving, it's just like...
I've already did it on mine in like, yeah. I did that like when I first sort of got running.
It's easy to do, and that's the thing. And that with the way the Patrol's body is, I got a few little marks in that, but I don't want to go putting any more in it.
And still one of those things that is hard to replace. So
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy.
They're like they're battle scars. You see them, they're there forever.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
So it's easier just to a bit of preventative, not preventative maintenance, preventative mods. Dink prevention.
Butt that up to them.
Yeah, so that's why I put that one on first, because I didn't. There's no set measurement on that. Well, you could measure it, but I thought, well, they're already pre-cut.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Literally tack them in, rest it on that, and slide it up till it butts up to that rear kicker, and tack that on. Makes life easy. That's for sure. Yeah, so the best thing about this kit from DIY Customs is the end notching and the folding. Like it's literally you just butt the tube up. Everything's pre-cut. It's all perfect. It matches up. You can just tack it, go along, make sure you got all your measurements right, and then weld it off. You don't have to worry about trying to line things up. All the hard work is done. It's literally just running welds. It does take all the hard work. It's just you could do basic sliders with just an angle grinder, but it wouldn't be neat, it wouldn't be as strong, and it'd take a hell of a lot more time to do it.
Yeah, that's it.
And then as you
I
said,
always thought about like instead of having that, you just have to cut tube and then like get that
sharp edge,
sharp edges.
or you can pie cut it, but it's nowhere near as strong.
So much longer.
It takes ages, and then you got the material costs anyway. So for the price of the kit, definitely worth it.
Yeah.
It's everything tacked in place. And we'll add these joins at the back here. Put a little kicker. I love that too.
Are the basic ones just without the kicker? Are they just the straight?
So they're a straight tube. So they do options in different kits. The basic kits start at around $300 for your straight tube, and they just go from there. But yeah, so I optioned for the rear kicker there, which is to keep the rear quarter of the car away from rocks when you drop in and that sort of thing.
Trees.
Which I think with a Patrol wagon is kind of sort of your weak point. It's easy to make a mistake and have a rear wheel drop in a rut and your rear quarter into a tree. So it helps protect that. And then also, if you want to run a rear bar or rear scrub bars, you've got somewhere to run that off as well.
Yeah, that's true as well.
The reason I thought this would be a good first mod, it's already got a bull bar, which isn't, it's a factory Nissan, it's an alloy bar, but it's better than nothing. So, but yeah, I thought these would be a good point to start. I really want to protect the sills of the car, and that's kind of where I think you're most likely to damage it, especially at the moment it's low. And these little babies just join in there, just like so. You could probably set them up however you wanted, like you could set them up that way if you wanted to, I guess.
Yeah,
But, I mean, that's the other thing is you can customize it. You get the kit, you put it together, you can run them like that.
Yeah, you could do like chook chook.
Yeah. Go crazy. That's the best thing, you know. It's you are building them,
Yeah,
so you can
that's
set
it.
them up how you want them.
And the same thing with like all the angles and stuff.
Yeah,
when you get them
exactly.
on the car, 'cause
That's the other thing I love is when you look at the kits to buy prefab, they're sort of
I try to put them halfway so
Yeah.
they work as a step
Yeah.
as well as a slider.
Yeah.
But if you were going like really wanted them
Yeah.
just to protect your car all the way, you'd have them like
yeah,
first like
exactly.
that.
Yeah, so you could run them like a full comp setup where literally just fold it up against the body.
Yeah, so they literally slide on everything.
And they're no use as a step, or you could run them dead flat as a step, which is another great thing. You can set them up, you can do the chassis mounts how you want them. So some people weld steel plates straight to the chassis,
Yeah, I've seen them.
which is, I'm sure
Is
it's
it-
strong.
Yeah.
Technically you have to get it engineered, but no one
Oh,
does.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're welding to the chassis rail,
Yeah, okay.
but
Right.
no one cares. I'm not going to do that because I like everything I do to a car to be reversible. So the kit comes with steel plate to fab up whatever type of brackets you like. I'm going to set up just a clamp style bracket, pretty much what your usual steps it come with anyway. It'll just clamp the rails at 2 positions and bolt to the radius arm mount somewhere there at the front.
Oh,
Yeah, because as you know, the rail dives in at the front there. Yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing. It's your choice. You build them how you want them.
And there's a complete rock slider. Hold up to that will in itself. That'll hold up to the toughest.
Just
rocks.
like that. Just tacked together.
Yep, just tacked.
Yep, sure.
Complete.
Those are the decorative ones. You got to weld them off. Weld them off. So yeah, that's everything tacked together. How long's it been? Like
not long.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
I reckon if you could do one a night after work.
Yeah, well that's it. Yeah.
After hours jobs. I love that you can put them together and watch it come together.
Yeah.
Like you feel good when it's, goes from a bunch of pieces into, yeah.
Yeah.
Keen to see how they look on the car. I'm sure they look sweet.
Does Dan have any welding tips for all the people wanting to do MIG weld out there?
Practice.
There you go.
Practice is literally all I can say. I'm far from the best welder. I like to think I'm far from the worst as well.
Yeah,
That's debatable. Literally just practice. I think if you've never MIG welded before, sit down with a bunch of scrap steel and half a day and just weld. Just go. Because there's nothing... People will give you tips and that's helpful. How to set a machine up and your gun angle, that sort of thing. But yeah, really the best thing is just practice. It just takes time. And as I said before, people who do it every day will get 10 welds out of 10 welds will come out perfect. Just time, really. But it definitely helps having a welder at home, even if it's a small machine, something you can learn on and do little jobs.
MIG welders are pretty affordable these days, aren't they?
Yeah, they come down a lot in price from what they used to be. Like that's a pretty early machine, that was second hand, but yeah, even the newer machines off the market. You can get ones now that'll do MIG TIG in a single unit.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say you're not going to need a TIG welder, but if somewhere down the line you want to learn how to do it, the option's always there. You can just plug it in and go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something to look at. They're a good investment, especially if you're into full driving and you're going to break things.
Yeah.
Inevitably, you are going to break things.
Yeah.
Run a few more welds, and yeah, once you get going with something like this, once it's all tacked together, the actual running the welds not that hard.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm trying to make it look pretty. Just don't go too close, Patrick. The internet will judge me. Take the pictures of the welds from further away. Alright, so that's everything mounted in place for now. Still got a fair few beads to run on here, as you can imagine. That's the easy part. And then the mounting hardware that comes in the kit. So these are end-notched tube, same as what the rest of the rails are made out of, and you set them up to wherever, as we were saying before, whatever angle you want. So imagine that's level chassis rails here, and you can just set that step up to however you want it to be. On an angle or dead flat like a step, you can run it right up like a comp style setup. Also included in the kit, you've got these neat little end caps, which again take more work out of it. Those just weld straight in there, cap off the tubing and really finish everything off nice and neatly. And then there's steel plate to make up the brackets for your chassis, but we'll show more of that later when it comes to actually mounting these things to the car.
Before you go, make sure you click that subscribe button, because on this Tuesday, yes, this Tuesday coming, we're releasing part 2 with us painting it, making the brackets and putting it on the car.